In today's episode of the podcast, we're doing a little window shopping to see what sorts of sweaters you can knit with this yarn. So if that sounds like just your cup of what's left over from this morning's coffee, get cozy and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. I am switching gears today and doing something that was not planned otherwise, and that is window shopping. Today, I decided that we would dive into Ravelry, similar to how we do whenever we do Ravelry Roulette. If you have yet to watch an episode of Ravelry Roulette, I definitely encourage you to do so. But we're going to be doing something similar, except today, instead of randomizing everything, we actually have an intention, and I'm going to be doing some window shopping. I have a new yarn base coming to the Fiber for the People shop this coming Saturday that I am so excited about. And I actually was excited as soon as I got the yarn base and got to hold it in my hands. I was just floored. But now that I have dyed a batch of this, I'm really excited for this yarn, and I've decided that I would love to try my hand at knitting something with this yarn. And my mind immediately goes to sweater. My hand knit wardrobe is really small at the moment. I have a couple of crew neck sweaters, but I want something that's a little bit more sweatshirt inspired, but also something that might have a little bit of a funky texture and some novelty to it, while also being something very wearable. So these are just things that I'm throwing around in my head. Well, after I dyed my first batch of this yarn, I'm going to show it to you here. This is the collection of colorways, if you will. I just got so excited about this yarn. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little backstory here. As many of you know, I am the owner and dyer of Fiber for the People yarn. That is the yarn business that I am speaking of. This is the collection that's coming to the shop this Saturday, and this is the yarn base. So I'm going to let you get in close there. So it kind of has a little bit of a boucle look to it. I wouldn't necessarily say that it is a boucle yarn. I'm not 100% certain that that's what this is. I don't know what the hard and fast definition of a boucle yarn is, believe it or not, because it is not like really heavily textured yarns like that aren't things that are that's not my wheelhouse in terms of being a knitter. A boucle yarn is a type of yarn that is made from multiple strands of yarn that are combined to create a rough looped appearance. Well, I don't know. I mean, this does definitely have a little bit of a boucle look to it. For all intents and purposes, we can call it that. It's got like a curly vibe, a curly texture. You can get in kind of close there and see what that looks like. So what this is 100% non-superwash, untreated merino wool. It is a bulky weight, and it's a real nice, soft, unspun, single-ply strand. Well, it's not unspun. I guess it was just loosely spun single-ply strand of yarn that's curling around an inner core of 100% merino. That's the makeup of this yarn. It's really beautiful. I really love it. I've never really gotten a chance to get my hands on a yarn like this, and I'm just obsessed. Look at this gorgeous gold color. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to dye this collection of colorways was because the blanket that I'm working on right now, which I'm going to be talking about this over on the Patreon. If you are a member of the Patreon, look for a video coming soon where I talk a little bit about the mosaic knitting that's going on here. But this is my Mexican blanket that I started knitting not too long ago. Now, this is being knit using Lion Brand yarn. No, I take that back. It's K&C yarn by Joanne Fabrics. It's kind of like a acrylic alpaca blend. There is some Lion Brand thick and quick in here in the way of this mustard color, but overall it's a big box store yarn, and it's gorgeous, an acrylic wool blend, and I love it. But I love these colors. How gorgeous are all of these colors together? I'm just loving the whole vibe. This blanket is nearly finished. How gorgeous is this? Yeah, super gorgeous. So I wanted to do a colorway collection in this really lovely yarn base that was inspired by my Mexican blanket. I'm not going to be able to fold this as nicely as I had it. I'm going to set it back in here. So that's where the inspiration came from. You can kind of see if I leave this here and I show you these. See, you can kind of see these colors and, whoops, my blanket colors. Yeah. This one is a little less rusty and brown than the other one, but it's still really beautiful. So that's the inspiration. Well, anyway, long story long, I'm going to leave that balancing precariously back there. It's down on the floor now because where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. We'll just leave it there. It's fine. It's a blanket. So I loved the colors of that blanket and I wanted to do my own little collection inspired by that. So here is that collection. Now the yarn is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way it feels. It feels luxurious. You can tell it's a really nice 20 micron merino wool, which means it's fine, it's soft, but it's not too fine. It has a little bit of a toothiness that gives it a nice rustic feel while also having a nice luxe vibe to it. And then of course you have the boucle texture and that's absolutely gorgeous. This is very like ketchup and mustard. Let's throw this up. Isn't that really beautiful? So these, oh, look at all these gorgeous colors. Yeah, so that's what I have. Now, as soon as I saw the yarn, I thought I couldn't wait to swatch with it, number one, and I haven't done that yet. And then I couldn't wait to get my hands on it in like a real application, make it into something like a nice sweatshirt sweater or some kind of just easy throw on sweater. Because I have yet to knit a sweater like that in a bulky weight yarn. So I thought, pump the brakes on any other plans for a video that I might have, and those plans will be coming down the road soon. I wanted to do a little window shopping video with you where we go into Ravelry and we filter our search results. We talk a little bit about that, but we use this yarn to kind of inspire a pattern search on Ravelry for bulky weight sweaters. I'm going to do a Ravelry search with this yarn in mind, and I'm going to take you with me. So that's what we're going to do today. And the color that I'm going to be keeping in mind is this one. Okay, whatever I make with this, I would want it to be an all over color. And I'm loving this color. I don't wear a lot of red, but I love red, and I like a nice tomato red like this. I don't know what else to compare it to, but like the color of my pencil sharpener here. It's kind of similar, but I love this color red. And I asked my husband, I was like, if I had to make a sweater out of these colors, and he just immediately picked out this one. And I agree with him. So, okay, that is what is in mind. Let's go ahead and dive in and see what we can find. Okay, so here we are. We are at the Ravelry search page. We're going to go to advanced search here. And that's cute. Sorry. Sidetracked. Okay. And we are going to filter this out. Now, again, we're keeping bulky weight yarn in mind. I will tell you, if you're going to do something like this, I'm not as prepared as I could be. For example, I haven't swatched with this yarn yet. If I were to give you the best advice, it would be find your yarn, find your needle size, make a swatch so that you get the fabric that you really love with the yarn needle combination. Once you have that fabric and you know you really love that fabric, take note of the gauge that you're getting, because when we filter this out, we can actually filter out by our gauge. So kind of keep that in mind. But having a gauge swatch already done for the yarn that you're interested in using is really helpful. But I'm going to keep it real today, and let's just imagine that we're doing this off the cuff. We don't have a gauge swatch. We just have this yarn we're obsessed with, and we want to find a pattern to go along with it. Let's say, for the sake of argument, this is 130 yards. Let's just shoot for six skeins of this for me, okay? What is 130 times 6? Because I can't do quick math. 780 yards of this yarn. Okay, so here we are. I'm keeping this off to the side. Right there is good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the filter section. I want to make sure whatever I choose has a photo. I'm sticking to knitting as my craft. In terms of my category, I would like to shoot for clothing right now, and I'd like to even go so far as to say I just want sweaters and primarily pullovers, okay? And then it can be free, it can be purchased online, it can be a Ravelry download. All right, I am going to go down. We're going to do gender. I'm just going to leave it open. That part I'm not too worried about, but I am going to adjust the gauge of the weight of the yarn to bulky weight. This is a bulky weight yarn. It is not super bulky. It's a bulky weight yarn. When you give it some tension, obviously it has some texture there, but that is just a bulky weight overall tension, not super bulky. So we're going to stick to that. And let's see, remember so we're in between 750 and 900 yards. Let's just go from 600 to 900. Let's just give it a range. Okay. And then all the way down here where it says more search options, if I hit gauge, you can actually enter in your gauge per 4 inches or 10 centimeters, whatever you're using there. And then it will help to kind of find patterns that fit within that gauge range. Now, because I haven't done a gauge swatch, I don't actually have that information, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But if you do have that information, let's say you loved the yarn, you had a needle in mind, you knit up a gauge swatch, you blocked it, you loved the swatch, and you want to find a pattern that kind of will accommodate that gauge as close as possible, then going all the way down to here, more search options, you can put in your gauge, and that will give you even further. Hopefully that will filter it out further for you, but I'm not going to do that today. And honestly too, I don't even know what needle size I would use for this, so I am just going to stick with what we have. So we have filtered this to free, online or Ravelry download, clothing, sweater or a pullover, knitting craft, has a photo, bulky weight yarn, and anywhere from 600 to 900 yards. Okay. And we have 4,902 matches to choose from. So we're just going to shop. Not like really, I don't know if we're going to actually buy any patterns, but we're going to look and see what's out there. Okay. Because this is exciting to me. You know, this one, this darling cardigan, I've seen this. This is by Kutovakika by Veronica Lindbergh. How cute is that? It's cute, but okay, I'm backing out of this because I don't want to look for a cardigan. I need to go, did I not take out? Oh, you know why? I had all clothing selected. I want to just focus on pullover sweaters. There, we're just going to do that. And because I don't want to see cardigans, I'm going to go here and I want to sweater pullover, but not cardigan. Nope, sorry. That's confusing. But not cardigans. So what that's going to do is it's narrowing it down by sweaters or pullovers, but not anything that's listed as a cardigan. Okay. For those of you that watched my last video where I talked about how hard it is to find sweaters on men and featured for men and all of that, that is a really great way to narrow that gender tag down by excluding female patterns. And that's something I'm going to be talking about later, but it is very useful. Okay, so I shouldn't see any more cardigans at this point. I mean, one or two might pop in. Okay, so we're going to go through here. Doppio sweater. What is that? Oh man, we're already off to a good start. How cute. See, this is what I'm talking about. Something like this has like such a cozy sweatshirt vibe. I don't know how many more sweatshirt vibe sweaters a person needs. I have like 3, I guess. That's really pretty. It's kind of like my Franken sweater. I feel like I could just knit another Franken sweater and then I would be set. But I want to find some inspiration here. I want to see. Pepper is outside rolling around like nobody's business in the grass. She better be rolling around on just grass. Okay. Look at this one right here, Winter League pullover. This is one I've had my eyes on before too. This is by Alexandra Tavel of Two of Wands. Now see, okay, this is another one this is like what I'm talking about, okay, because it has that vibe, that sweatshirt vibe. It has a little bit of a split hem situation going on here. That's so cute. I love this crisscross detail in the front right here. How cute is that? Okay, so what yarn is she using? Lion Brand Hue and Me, which is a bulky weight yarn. That looks to me like the super bulky. No, just bulky. Okay, all right. That's an 80-20 acrylic and wool. She actually works with Lion Brand, and so that's why a lot of her patterns feature Lion Brand yarn. Okay, but that is a bulky weight sweater. And it looks really pretty. I wonder how heavy that one is. This yarn, what's really lovely about this is it's really lightweight. It's bulky in its, weight category, but overall the weight of the yarn, it's really light. It's lightweight. I love it. And so it would knit up into something that wouldn't be quite so dense and heavy. Okay, this one's really cute. I am going to make a bundle for this. I'm saving this in favorites. I'm adding a new bundle and I'm calling it Bulky Sweaters. bulky sweaters, and I'm saving this to that. Okay, back we go. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. There's some of you that are probably like, stop! Right there, up to the left. Let's look at this one. My Bohemian Jumper. Okay, so I've seen sweaters like this before. I am not a huge fan of this edge along the bottom here because you see how it's kind of curling up right there, and it also kind of looks like it's tight, like it doesn't have any give to it. There's no stretch or resilience here. I like the look when it's just kind of on like this, where this person's standing still, they're not moving around or doing anything. That's very cute, and it almost looks like that's a boucle yarn. But I know when you start moving, this doesn't have any give to it, and that can become kind of uncomfortable. So it's pretty, not for me. Okay, let's keep going. What is this? I'm Obsessed Jumper by Brenda Lamb. Oh, wow. Okay. That is quite a turtleneck. That's very cute. It's kind of got a drop shoulder construction. What is on here? Yarn fibers on my coffee. No, I don't think that would be a sweater I would just throw on. I think that neck is a little stifling for me. I think the sleeves have so much volume that with a bulky weight yarn plus all of that volume, I just think it might be kind of not what I'm after. It's super cute, but just not what I'm after. So we're gonna move back. This Pure Fuzz, I can't really tell. Oh, you know, the thing about black sweaters is it is really difficult to see. Here we go. Nope, that neckline is way too wide. Way too wide for me. I'm not a fan of the big wide necklines. Of course, it looks like maybe that person just, well, no, because even here, it does have a little bit, it's just a little too wide of a neckline for me. Not to my taste, necessarily. Okay. What did I see? You know, this right here, Inverted Peaks Sweater by Drops Design. That's really pretty, especially with multiple colors here. And I'm all into the color work right now. And that looks like an easy one. I don't love the neck here, only because it's not what I'm after. I love the way it looks on this person. It's just not what I'm going for. I prefer the way it looks here. I don't feel, oops, sorry. Come back. Come back. Can it like not? What is even, okay. It's hard to kind of say what's going on there. Yeah, it's a little open for me. It's cute. It looks like a funnel neck. It's a little more open than what I'm after, but that is pretty, and it is a really lovely color work motif. Okay, we're gonna keep going. The Varpu always catches my attention. This sweater is so pretty. It's, what I love about this is that really gorgeous drop shoulder happening right here. I love this neckline. I feel like it's kind of a gentle V neckline, and I think that's really unique, especially having it wearing it over this dress that has a collar. It's so pretty. I love the texture. This yarn is Sandnesgarn Borstet Alpaca. I'd love to see what that looks like. Huh. Wow, okay, so that is a bulky weight yarn, but it's quite floofy. Interesting. But isn't this just such a beautiful sweater? I love this neckline. I really do, but you know, the only thing I wonder when I look at this, the ribs here sit really far apart. These are, okay, we're getting into nitpick territory, I'm just warning you. These little ribs sit really far apart here, and that tells me that the neckline is pretty loosely knit. It's not real tight, because if it were real tight, considering that this doesn't have to really stretch around too much, it's just kind of laying around her neck like that. If it were tight, it would bring those ribs in a little closer and give it more of an elastic look. Now, that's not a deal breaker, and it's not something I dislike, but one reason why it's more visually appealing to me is because the edges are blurred by the really floofy, hairy nature of this yarn. Now this yarn here, it does have a texture to it, and I don't know, I don't have a lot of experience with this. I'm not exactly sure how that would contribute to blurring the lines of little details like that, but I have to think it's not going to be quite as much as it would be if it were a mohair or like an alpaca brushed fiber texture. And so I don't know how I would love that if this were in a yarn that didn't have that brushed texture. Same thing going on down here. This looks to me like a twisted rib, and I'm not a fan of twisted rib just as a rule lately, I guess. And I wonder how that would look with something like this. I love the way it looks here with this floofy hairy yarn because it does kind of blur those real defined edges of a twisted rib texture, but I'm not sure how I would like it with this. But overall, the silhouette of this sweater is just absolutely beautiful. I love that. So that's the Varpu, and that's by Jonna Helen. Helen? I'm not exactly sure. Okay, let's keep looking. This is pretty. Sweater number 5 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I've never seen this before. Ooh. Oh dear. That's dangerous. That's really pretty. Again though, we have this really nice fisherman's rib, really voluminous sleeves, and this might be better in a yarn that's not so textured as this, but I don't know. I really need to swatch with this, and I'm excited to swatch with this. Keep your eyes peeled because more photos of this yarn swatched will be coming to the newsletter and Fiber for the People over on Instagram. But I don't know. That's really pretty. Ooh, I hate to see it on a wire hanger like that. Oy. Oh no. But that's pretty. And this is using Gepard Garn Puno. What is that? See, again, we're talking like really hairy brushed, not hairy here, but like a brushed single ply fiber. That's pretty. That's 68% alpaca, 22% nylon, 10% wool. Interesting. Okay, we're getting out of here. Let's go. Let's get out. All right, let's go back. Let's keep on trucking until I find something that really draws my attention. I haven't found that yet. I felt like when I did this for my video where I was showing you some of these wearable designs, this is really cute. Hold the phone. This is really cute. That's really cute. That's unique. And there's a lot of details going on here. I don't love the drawstring going on around the waist. I feel like that's too many details. It's like the zipper here and this really cool ribbing that's happening right here, giving this texture. And then of course this horizontal break in the garment. It kind of gives it that like classic, what do you call it? Anorak type look. But I think the drawstring down here is like just a step too far. In my opinion, okay? It's my opinion. But you can very easily not include that. That's really cute. Yeah, I don't know. But it is very cute. All right, and we move on. Okay, we're on page 4. Do you see where it says bulky garments? That was the search that I created last time for the video. That's where we need to be. Okay, this is that search. And I remember finding lots of things in that search that really appealed to me. I'm already seeing a lot of them right now. Now, somebody made a comment in that video about how a lot of these bulky weight patterns that you're finding are bulky because the yarn pairing usually has like a worsted and a mohair, giving it a bulky overall weight or something like that. And they are right. That is true. There are some patterns that have multiple strands being held together to create that bulky weight. What you can do is you can go over here to the left where it says yarn held together. I'm going to say single strand only. And then that way I'm not getting a pairing. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to excuse me. Single strand only. I almost messed that up. I'm going to go down to advanced and not 2 together and not 2 double and not 3 together. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep it there. And then that way it's going to exclude any patterns where you're holding a yarn double. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and keep it like that. And let's see if that... Okay, yeah, it's adjusted. Yeah, so I can already see here that some of the patterns have fallen off that are using a yarn pairing, which is good. For those of us that don't really want to work with a yarn pairing, or we really want to just use the yarn that we have without pairing it with something else, it's nice to be able to eliminate those options so you're not inundated with them, because they are very popular right now. This was the Frankie sweater, and this is one of them that I kind of stopped on in that last video, and I think it's so beautiful. I would absolutely knit this sweater in this yarn. Like right now we would stop what we're doing and this would be the one, but I can't find it. I don't know where the English version of the pattern is. And so here's the thing. So you can go to, I'm going to go to this link right here down at the bottom. It says for more information, see yada yada link. Okay. Cookie settings, essential, save. Okay, so here's the Frankie sweater. And it gives me information about the sweater, the amount of yarn, the size guide, difficulty, files. Now, I don't know, what is this if I download this? Oh, you know what I think this is? I think this is errata. I think these are corrections. If I translate this. Correction, yeah. So this would be where you would get like information about any kind of corrections that have been made on this pattern. But where do I find the actual pattern? And it says here, find a dealer. I don't know what that means, like to find the actual pattern. I wonder if I can Google Frankie sweater pattern, because I want the pattern. Okay, you know what? I can't find it. So if you can find that pattern, if you can figure out where you can find that pattern, even if it's not in English, let me know, because it's such a beautiful pattern. But we're going to keep moving here because I want to keep looking. There's other things. Here's that Winter League pullover again. Oh, wait. I want to go back to the Frankie sweater. Pardon me. And I want to add it to my favorites in my new bulky garment. Wait. I thought for sure I made a bulky bundle. Bulky sweaters. I thought for sure I did. Create. Oh, you know what? I never did. Okay, save. We're going to add that to that bundle. Okay, the bundle I never created. And I think I also wanted to put... Well, this says it's already in favorites. I'm also noticing too, I know one of the reasons why folks have a hard time with the idea of knitting a bulky weight yarn is because they tend to feel like if you stick with the needle size recommended for the yarn, so a bulky weight yarn like this, it's recommended anything from a US size 9 to a US size 11. Now, if you knit this with a US size 9, your fabric will be a little bit more on the dense side. Dense fabric and bulky weight yarn, all of that goes together to make something that's a little less wearable than if you were to really go to the upper side of that needle range and even exceed that needle range to open that fabric up. The garment really becomes so much more wearable. So when I'm looking here for some garment ideas, I'm looking for something that gives me a little bit of wiggle room in terms of fabric density, and I'm really not going to know how much wiggle room I have until I swatch with the yarn, but I definitely want to go into this thinking I don't want a dense fabric. I want to use the largest needle I possibly can that will give me a nice drapey fabric without it being too open and kind of gappy, but still giving me something that has a nice fabric structure to it. So I'm looking for things like that. I'm keeping that kind of texture in mind. I feel like I'm not having a lot of luck right now, you guys. Definitely not helping prove that point that there's lots of bulky weight wearable items. There are some cute things, but style-wise, not something I'm really drawn towards. This Wave of Change pullover by Denise Bayron, I've seen this before. I think it's really pretty. However, I feel like the fabric looks very dense for my taste right now. It just seems like it's a stiff fabric there that might be a little bit more dense than I'm after. It's a beautiful yarn. Love the color. Let's see. This one right here, this is called the C Loop Tee by Other Loops. Now it's a tee, I get that, but I look at this and I think I love the texture of this yarn. This is a boucle yarn. It matches like the similar texture to what I have here. And I love the drape of this. Now I know I just mentioned not too long ago in the same video that I don't love the raw edge. However, here, I actually like the way it looks here because it's got a little bit of a structure to it. The only part of this that kind of bugs me, and I might do something a little different, is just this bottom hem. But even so, again, I'm losing it here. Even so down here, I don't mind it all that much, but I probably would end up doing something else down there besides just a basic bind off, leaving it raw. I don't know, but what I do love about this is kind of the overall vibe of this. And if I imagine the sleeves being longer, I think it could be really cute. That's a really cute tee as well. That's a great way to use a nice, fun boucle bulky weight yarn. I wonder if it's cotton. Yeah, cotton waves. So it's for like a warmer season. That's really cute. Or cute, beautiful, pretty yarn. Lovely yarn. But yeah, I'm not surprised that's cotton for a nice tee like that. Very cute. Okay, but still, it's not what we're after. Oh, you know what? Okay. Let's see if I can find an example of where I feel like the fabric could border on maybe more dense. This here is a beautiful cardigan. This is the Oxbow cardigan by Andrew Mowry, but I want you to look at the fabric here. This is, I don't know, what is that? Like a kind of like a basket weave texture going on here. It almost looks like some kind of a moss stitch situation going on. But the fabric, it's supposed to be super cozy and warm. The texture is going to add a lot of warmth too, because all those little nooks and crannies, something that wears more like a jacket almost than just like a basic throw on cardigan. So that's kind of not what I'm after. I don't want something dense like that. No, that's beautiful though, if you're after something like that. So I'm looking for something a little bit more open. Okay, this is called the Brora Pullover by Brianna Mason. It's, again, we're using like pretty small needles for a bulky weight yarn. This is using Mayflower New Sky yarn. I'm curious to know. Gosh, like that to me looks like it borders on like an Aran weight yarn, not so much a bulky weight yarn. But who's to say? It's really lovely. I feel like the yarn that I have here might be slightly more bulky, but this is a really pretty sweater. And you can play around. This is really pretty. This reminds me of my Franken sweater with the split hem. Again, maybe I need to just do a Franken sweater with this lovely yarn. I don't know. But this is really, really lovely. I love a good split hem like that. You can play around with gauge. You can kind of choose to knit to whatever fabric you want, really, and then just adjust the size that you knit accordingly. I have a video on exactly what I'm talking about here if you would like to know how to use the yarn, the needle, the fabric you want to choose the size that you need to knit within a pattern. You can watch that video. I will link to it up here somewhere, and I will link to it down below. But this one's really pretty. I really love that. Okay, let's keep looking. We're gonna see. Okay, we're gonna do 3 more stops and see if we can't find something here in 3 more stops that draws the eye for a bulky weight sweater. This one's really cute. Oh man. Okay, it does have a nice warm fabric there, but that's really beautiful. Now I'm wondering about the weight of the yarn here. What is this? This is Rauma Vams? Yeah, so that looks similar to this. This is similar in color. Okay, so this yarn definitely looks similar to this one here, both in color, but also in weight. What are they using for their needle size? Okay, a size 7, which is going to be what gives you the finishes here, the collar and the cuffs, and a size 10, I'm gonna go back, for this fabric. Wow, this is really lovely. Oh man. I feel like I'm getting excited and I don't even know if this pattern is available to me. Let's see. I don't know what this says. What did I just do? Digital. Do they sell it in English? Okay, so women's. What is this? Okay, this is something else. Or it's like the whole booklet that this comes in. Hey, this is that hood that I mentioned on a previous episode. Okay, this is really beautiful. I wish the pattern... You can do a digital and a paper pattern. Oh, I wish it were available in English. I wonder how hard it is to translate something like that. I don't know. Let me know if you have ever translated a pattern before so that you could knit it. I would love to try that because I really love that sweater. It's a raglan seam sweater with a really lovely texture to it. If I were to translate, if I wanted to just translate this page here. Pekka structured sweater is a raglan sweater in pearl rib with ribbed edges. Pearl rib is a simple and effective structural pattern of straight and pearl stitches. The jumper has a straight and roomy fit with a round neck and wide raglan. It's knitted in the round from top to bottom. The neckline is shaped by knitting double crochets, and the raglan increases are knitted on each side of a board of pearl rib. To get a roomy fit, choose a size that has a chest width that is 14 to 22 centimeters larger than your own. It's really cute. Oh, I don't know, guys. I really love that. It has a really open neckline, but I think that could probably be adjusted. I would probably end up doing that open neckline with a doubled over collar like I like. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, I'm going to go back. I need to go back. I kind of wandered off. I'm going to add this to my bulky. It better be not gone. There, bulky sweater. Thought I lost it again. I think I'm going to add that. Okay, we're going to do one more. I really love this. This is, ooh, I really love that. What is this one? The Ida sweater. I don't love the neckline on that. But it's not bad. It's not bad by any means. It's gorgeous. I just don't love a wide neckline. I don't know. Has kind of an unfinished look to it, in my opinion. We move on. You really have to give yourself like a limit. Like you have to tell yourself when you're going to stop because Ravelry is one of those things that you can just kind of keep scrolling. You really do have to keep that under control. Yeah, not to sound lectury or anything, but from experience, I know how important that is. This is really pretty. Wow, that's pretty. There's a lot going on in this neckline here. It's beautiful. It's a little more than what I'm looking for. But that is beautiful, don't get me wrong. That's a pretty one. I don't know, I guess I'm having a hard time finding bulky weight sweaters that call to me. The Sunday sweater is a bulky weight design. Using a US 8 and a US 10, so she is using the higher end of the needle size spectrum there to get this sweater, and I do really love this sweater. It has been one that's been on my want to knit list for quite some time. Oops. I wonder how that texture would look with something like this. I don't know. I really need to swatch, I think, but my favorites so far, if I go to my favorites here and I look at my bulky bundle, I think I only put 3 in here. These are my 3 favorites of what I've seen today. I love this one. I love this one. I love the ease in this sweater. I love the texture of this sweater. I kind of wonder how that texture would look with this yarn. Again, I really need to swatch, but I love the overall shape of this. It looks super wearable, in my opinion. Okay, so I have some ideas. And then of course there's this Winter League pullover. This is like one of those patterns you see everywhere, but for good reason. I mean, it's a classic pullover sweater. It's got that really fun little crisscross design in the front, giving it that sweatshirt vibe, which is kind of what I said I was after. I don't know, this is a good one too. Yeah, very cute. It just looks so cozy. All right, so that's what I think I've come up with today. I don't know if I'm going to settle on any of these. I just know that I want to swatch with this yarn and knit something with it because it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm excited about it. I love the idea of knitting a sweater in a yarn that maybe isn't something I would typically go, spring for. But I'm knitting with more color these days. Why not dabble in a completely different yarn texture? And maybe I only end up knitting something like a hat with like this, because this would make a really cute hat. We might need to do this again with accessories. Keep your eyes out. I might pop in a window shopping video with this yarn where we look at just accessories and not garments over on the Patreon. But that is it for today. I apologize for kind of switching directions. Not like you knew that. You didn't know what was going on. But I couldn't help it. I was inspired, and I thought, what better way to do some window shopping than to do it with you fine folks. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm excited to see you this week with a fresh podcast episode where I will finally be sharing with you projects I've been working on, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the blanket that's on the floor to be finished the next time we meet. I don't have much left, and that thing works up so quickly. So keep posted for that. In the meantime, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.